Ridiculous.
Ha! How loathsome. No, I was just reading about Volaron. Can I help you?
Okay.
I was always an ardent supporter of Lord Urwagil Hildress myself. Were it not for his sudden death down on the surface, I likely still would be. In my eyes, Lord Urwagil is the true Waterlord. I don't believe for a second that he perished in some accident like they say. As for how Volaron runs Ganatheros, don't get me started. I hear he enslaves not only Dahnans, but even his fellow Renans. We may live in a society where to the victor go the spoils, but his actions go against what we as a people stand for. Besides, just what sort of family line is this House Ignisari of his anyway? I'd never heard of it until he came along, which means they must be among the lowest dregs of society. That such an ignoble lineage could suddenly produce an astral artist capable of ascending to lordship is unheard of. None of it makes any sense, not to mention all of the upheaval around here of late. What is happening to our people?
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganatheros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Dahnan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Xion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
Breaking news. People are people. Who could have known? Yo, 220 SP, don't mind if I do? Fork that over. Thank you, thank you. Need it. I like how no one was in Volaron's favor. Yeah, I do too, and it makes a lot of sense. Because, you know, he came out of nowhere. He wasn't the lord that they sent down in the first place. And like that guy just mentioned, he's like, who is this House Ignisari? I've never heard of them before. They must be low tier, etc., etc. Like, he doesn't come from some noble family line. He's just kind of out of nowhere, which we do hear a little bit more about later in the game, which makes it even clearer and I think works really, really well.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfrikt Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfrikt whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over Holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
To the Forbidden Zone we go. We'll get some answers one way or another.
Do?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dahna already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still... kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Dahnan rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Red Woman jump scare?
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Yo, my sins are legion is a sick line, though. Like, it's a pretty sick line, you gotta admit. Hey, Red Woman, you still back here being creepy? No? Okay, good talk. See you later. Peace out. Bum, 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 bum. Heck is that noise? Oh, someone using water arts over there. That makes sense. I feel guilty about fleeing while there are kids out there fighting. There's no need to worry about them. They come from a higher-ranking family than ours. That makes their astral art stronger than ours. They're simply fulfilling their duty to society as members of the ruling elite. I know, but it still doesn't sit right with me. Well, you should probably go do something about that then. Civilian Park Zone. Dude, I love the music in Lenegus. It's so good. Big fan. Don't mind if I do just nab that. Tofu. A substance made by adding a coagulant to soy milk.
What could this be?
Oh, tofu is a thing that I needed for a side quest. Oh, it's for Gordeno, isn't it? Gordeno still needs me to get another thing of tofu for him. Oh, that's funny. Well, hopefully I can find one more thing of tofu around here to make him whatever dish he wants.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renans sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dahna, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnagin. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnagin. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnagin and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagin and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagin had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagin was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. the Dahnans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right.
Spooky, we're being spied on.
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
I love being given assistance.
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
How? How could we possibly check in on the ranch from here? Easily. It makes no sense. Alright. Do we have, now that we're in Lenegus, we do have new weapon options. Gladius Rene. A sword made with Lenegus technology. Cutting-edge Renan technology was used while developing it to feel good to hold in anybody's hand. Pretty cool-looking sword. Decent stat buff. Scaloptum Rene and the assault shot. What the heck is the assault shot, dude? Look at this thing. It's a cannon! This is a really good stat boost, but we don't have any dark mains. This stat boost isn't good enough, to be honest. The Scutum Rene. The pink Perrector. That's a really good buff. Yeah, give. Historia Rene. History book published in Lenegus that deeply explores the crown contest and many lords who have partaken in it over the centuries. This might be the rarest book? I don't remember. This is a really big buff if we just get a Radiant Light Part 2. But I feel like we're gonna run into Dark Mains soon, so I should just wait for the Dark Mains, especially because this is so expensive. Cadesius Rene, which we can afford right now. Definitely. That one looks really cool. Paloma Passio. Don't have any Dark Mains. Yo, I like these gloves on Law, especially the 3 spikes. That's really cool. Your focus is so stupid. I need one more Gargantua Bone, and also money. If I get more money, I could get this for Alphen. I mean, it's like plus 30 to all stats, which isn't bad. Sell these gold dog tags. Tofu. Do. I think we're good.
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
Yeah, I think we're good for now. Need more money. I will rest, and I will cook before getting in here. What have we got? What have we got? Do probably the fish steak. It's the only boss fish we have right now, but I could go for some experience boosting. Yeah, why not? Let's do it, Kisara.
Thanks for waiting. Eat as much as you like.
When there is explicitly no line of communication to Dana, let's check on the ranch!
Well, how's it taste?
The meat is just the right texture and firmness. You can easily taste all of the ingredients that went into it.
I'm impressed you can cut up such a huge fish.
The basic procedure doesn't really change whether a fish is big or small. All it takes is practice.
Still, I feel a little bad eating this fish. It's supposed to be a pretty rare species, isn't it?
I'm the type who fishes for food first and foremost. Once I catch something, I cook it up with care so it doesn't go to waste. Don't worry, I took an imprint of it for posterity before I turned it into steak.
The meat is so thick. It almost reminds me a little of beef.
What's the difference? Isn't it all meat at the end of the day, regardless of where it comes from?
Says the guy who always complains about it not being red meat whenever we have fish.
Look, as long as it tastes good, I don't care what it is.
Even vegetables?
I'm talking about meat!
It looks thick because that's how big the fish was. There's still plenty to go around, so feel free to have more if you want it.
Sure, I'll take another slice.
Better grab it while you can, everyone.
Xion will consume the entire fish herself. I was not expecting a skit there. All right, thank you. Well, chat, let's get a move on and hope we run into some dark mains.